Social Securities, those are pretty accurate at the time of application. It doesn't let you go on much further if that Social Security is not matching. Another one that you will see though, citizenship, immigration status, can't be verified electronically. That's a pretty common one. But more than anything, I would say most common one you will run into is going to be income. Now, what does that mean? That means you have 90 days. Again, ultimately, it's the client's decision, the client's responsibility. But you, as the agent, like mentioned before, you are here to bridge the gap between the marketplace and your client. So, when it says clients typically have 90 days, that also should say agents have 90 days to do your best to gather the information from the client. The 90 days starts from the date of the eligibility notice to resolve that DMI. So, if we were to sign someone up today, they would still have a July 1st effective date. That plan would still technically go effective if it's only a DMI, not an SVI. I'll go over the difference. But if it's just a DMI, we would have 90 days from today, not 90 days from when that application or when that plan went effective. So just uh, be considerate of the different data matching issues. A lot of time you won't have them just depending on the type of business you are doing. You might see a big influx during open enrollment if a lot of incomes change. And for those of you who use Health Sherpa is really nice at giving you consistent reminders. There's actually even a way to check all of your data matching issues. So be on top of it. Use it as an opportunity to talk to your clients. But again, most common is going to be income. Before we do that, you will see on healthcare.gov or Health Sherpa the different approved documents you can submit. One of them could be pay stubs. One of them could be the 1040 tax return. You'll see there's a handful of different documents that are approved. You just need to collect the correct one and get it submitted. Now, that was a DMI. Let's jump into what an SVI is. An SVI is an SEP verification. So when we're enrolling outside of open enrollment, for those of you who are newer to the ACA space, they have to have a qualifying life event. Now, there is a handful of qualifying life events. Most common will be losing qualifying coverage. So maybe someone um, either quits a job, gets fired from a job, laid off from a job, whatever the case is, and they lose their employer coverage. Well, that opens up a qualifying life event. They now have a special enrollment period. Let's say they move. They move from Florida, they move to Texas, and they had coverage in Florida. Well, that coverage is no longer, they're not eligible for that coverage. So that opens up a qualifying life event. They now have 60 days to enroll in a plan. You understand what I'm saying here. There must be a qualifying life event to, one, enable that SEP, special enrollment period. Now, an SVI is submitting documentation or submitting proof to the marketplace that this qualifying life event is valid, is accurate, and is approved. So let's say we'll use a participant here in the chat, Jeff Sugars, for example. Jeff's got coverage in Florida. He moves to Texas. He calls me, his agent, and says, "Hey, David, I just moved to Texas. Can you help me out getting coverage?" Excuse me. I said, "Yeah, absolutely. We now need proof of the move." So again, Health Sherpa is going to have a list of approved documentation. Jeff gets me that documentation. We submit it to the marketplace. The difference between an SVI is it's much tighter than a DMI. Typically, this says clients have 30 days. You want to submit that as soon as you possibly can because they can't get coverage until approved, until that SVI is cleared. So Jeff submits this documentation to me on, let's say, June 20th. His plan's supposed to go effective July 1st. We want to get that submitted ASAP so that coverage does go effective July 1st. So those of you doing business year round, be very conscious of SVIs and be very conscious of getting that information submitted to you quickly. Unlike DMIs, again, coverage often is pended and cannot be used until the SVI is cleared. So rather than a DMI, you have 90 days, you miss that 90-day window, they lose the premium tax credit, but they still had coverage for 3 months. This is the opposite. They don't get coverage till approved. I know I sound like I'm continue beating the nail, but I just want it to be clear. SVIs are different from DMIs. So some acceptable documents, again, I would just state and look into what healthcare.gov and Health Sherpa accepts, but some of these would be income, last 4 weeks of pay stubs, 1040 tax returns, W-2 or 1099. If they started a new job, you can just submit their current W-2 or 1099, or in some cases, a signed self-employment ledger. Two, citizenship. That would be a U.S. passport, certificate of naturalization, or birth certificate plus state ID. Again, everyone on this presentation, this is a small list of approved documents. You'll jump on there, you'll see citizenship has a handful, income has a handful, but you get the picture here. Identity, driver's license, school ID with photo, voter registration card, I should say social security card. There are different ways there. SVI, letter from previous employer or insurance carrier stating the date of coverage ended. I actually did one of these today, this morning. I got a letter from a previous employer for one of my clients, had his name, all the information, submitted it. Insurance company actually already accepted it today. So, resolution process. First and foremost, you need to identify